What's good, everybody?
Do the intro. Go ahead.
Welcome to Once a Project Podcast with your or what? I don't know how you say
Welcome, guys. What's up, guys?
with
to
your
another
host, BrandonALara, and your co-host, Jackie. How are you doing today, babe?
Good. What up, guys? Welcome to another episode. Listen, if you're looking at this episode or watching this episode on YouTube, yes, I am wearing the same shirt as I was
But there's a twist to it.
in the other video.
Now he's drinking a different drink.
Yes. Now it's pick me up. You know what they should do with these? They should
Levántame.
They should put that logo that they have right here like a sticker. Why does mine not have it then?
Oh, yours doesn't have it? Well, they didn't put it on this one either. They usually do. This is why we go to the one
Over
by
there.
Walmart.
Yeah. Guys, what up? How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are having a blessed day. Saturday. Thank you all. Do you think I can speak in British?
Speak in British.
Thank you.
I love how they sound.
Thank you all for
Thank you.
For
For
your
bless.
support. And hopefully you guys
You look retarded, baby.
have a blessed day.
So today?
I don't think they speak like that.
No.
I think I sound more artistic than anything.
I love how they sound, though.
Yeah.
I think their voice is really sexy.
All right. What is a language that you think is sexy? You just
one.
like, holy shit. For me, it's Colombian.
I don't think I've...
Wait, but we're talking about like you find like a Britain guy voice sexy or just in general?
No, just in general.
Okay, because I think that in general.
So there's someone who has Colombian, what's it called? Accent?
Yeah. That I know of, no, not personally.
So you had just said that, but now you asked me that, and
Well, because I've seen it in TV shows. You know how
I don't know
Colombians
how
speak?
I don't know how they speak.
Well, if you watch the Netflix series of Pablo Escobar, they have some Colombians on there. Yeah, that'll do it for me.
Yeah.
Like a Colombian accent. That or like you know what I realized? There's so many places that we don't even think about, like Venezuela, Argentina, freaking Uruguay, like those type of places.
Yeah.
That they have like beautiful cultures, and like their accents are really nice, and like a sophisticated Mexican sounds good, They sound sexy, guy or girl. And same thing goes for like those type of southern countries that are like, Colombia, Uruguay, Argentina, Venezuela. What's another one? I don't know, but basically,
There's a lot.
There's a lot out there. But I think what's one like across Europe? In Europe, I think British is pretty up there. I just don't know it. I feel like they sound too smart. Like I feel like if I was to be friends with a British guy, I feel dumb.
Yeah.
Because their words are so eloquent. Is that even a word? Eloquent?
I think so.
I don't know if that's a word, but I think I'm trying to say elegant.
Just say elegant.
Elegant. So, yeah, I don't know. So if you
Who knows? There's a lot out here.
If you could have like a Spanish or not Spanish, an accent, what accent would you have?
British.
For sure? Really?
I've always liked it.
I think I'd have a Mexican accent. What's one language that you would choose to speak for the rest of your life? That you can only have one language to speak.
Probably British.
Okay.
Wait, you said a what?
Language.
Oh.
I think if I if I was to only speak one language and I could live in the country,
I really like speaking Spanish.
I think I'd go with Spanish too. There's just so much more mannerisms and so much more little like hacks with the words you can do
Yeah.
that just sound cool or just kind of get the meaning across. In English, there's too much grammar
Yeah.
involved. You have to be very careful. That's why this podcast is struggling with its language, because English. See what I'm telling you? English is my second language, and I don't know how to speak it too well. I mean, I know how to speak it well enough.
You
but
know how to speak
I
it better
struggle.
than me.
Yes, but it's still, it's a complicated. And so, anyways,
Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons why I don't really like English.
because it's so like, detailed in a sense.
And in Spanish, there's just so many different ways you can say things.
Yeah, and you know what's also crazy is that within like the countries, like Spanish is not all the same in all Mexico. Like
Yeah.
if you go where I'm from, it's
You
completely
say
different
things
from
way
where you're.
different from where I'm from.
Exactly, or some things we say the same but they have different meanings.
Yeah, because sometimes I'm like, what the
fuck
hell
you
is
mean?
that?
Yeah, but same goes with
And I'm
English.
like, oh, you mean this?
Yeah, and same goes with English is that if you go down to the south, Florida, Mississippi, those type of not continents, those type of states out there, like they have very different words, but it's still English.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's kind of cool though. It's super diverse all around. Like, yeah, I want to learn a new language. Sometimes I just think to myself, what am I
I
going to
think
use that
it's
language
hard
for?
though. Yeah. And I feel like at some point if you do learn that language, you're gonna forget because who are you gonna speak it with?
Exactly.
Who are you gonna practice?
Like I'd love to
This
learn
language with.
Chinese or like Russian or French. No, German. I love to learn like German language, but
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to go to Germany anytime soon. So plus I just don't have the time to sit there.
Hey, remember when you were taking your Spanish classes
Yeah.
on YouTube?
Oh,
How long did that last? Not even a week.
it lasted 3 days. But the thing is, I got sick of it because it was like, hey is for.
It was just the basics.
Yeah, I was just like, I already know the
It's
basics.
like you in preschool.
Exactly. I guess that's what it takes, to learn good Spanish. Though I don't know.
Yeah.
But
That's true.
I struggle just with like the pronunciations more so than anything.
Pronunciations.
Pronunciations. See, I even struggle with English,
Yeah.
and I think that just has to do with like being such like I think it's just hard because half the day it's like you're English, half the day you're Spanish when you're younger. So for me, like half the day at school, pure English. Then the second half of the day at home, pure Spanish. So your tongue like it's just back and forth. And your tongue is like, hey, dude, what are we doing here? What language are we speaking?
Yeah.
So you speak Splingish. How is it?
Spanglish.
Spanglish.
For me,
You know?
it became a lot more difficult with both languages once we moved in together.
Exactly.
Because you're a lot more English, and I was used to Spanish like 100% of the time.
And then it's also who you hang out around with.
Yeah, well, you're who I hang out around with.
You're my only friend.
And yeah, I've seen these past months, I've seen myself struggle with Spanish,
Yeah.
with English. More so Spanish though.
Yeah.
And it low-key breaks my heart because I'm like, I don't want to be like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to forget my Spanish.
Yeah.
Because it's a beautiful thing to have, especially having Hispanic parents.
Yeah, it'd suck ass if you couldn't speak Spanish and like your parents didn't speak English, and so you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things too. Like you have to keep up. It's like being a doctor. There's medicines coming out every year, so you have to keep up to date on the medicines, right? And so same goes with like having two languages in your vocab is keeping up with them. Like there's like I struggle with my English now than I did when I met you, because when I met you I was reading a lot more books than what I am now. So, and I'm not around people who speak at that level that I was speaking or that I was used to being around when I met you. And right now those people are not around anymore. So a lot of my English has gone down. Reason being is because, you know, you're who I'm with for the most of the day, right?
Yeah.
And then the other part of the day is I'm with coworkers who their level of vocabulary is very low.
Yeah.
You know, they use the F word every 2 words that they come out with, that it comes out of their mouth. You know, so
Yeah, it's really hard.
so, and then Spanish. The only time I speak Spanish is with you and that's more so because I'm forcing myself to speak Spanish with you. But then also when we go to family, that's the only time, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think that the environment has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, because for me, English,
I need to buy another cord like
I speak
that.
more of the basic language.
And
What they show you in elementary.
yeah.
Well, throughout elementary, middle school, high school.
Yeah.
But that's it. Like, I never took it to where, okay, I want to learn more.
Yeah.
It was just kind of, okay, I know my English. I know the basics. I'm good.
Yeah. And for me, I love learning big words in English
Yeah.
and learning how to
No, yeah, well, me too, but
up my
I just
level.
feel so dumb when I can't pronounce it.
Yeah. Yeah, it does humble you a little bit when you're like, oh, I don't know how to read
Oh,
that.
shit.
Yeah, but I want to get better overall in my speaking, you know? So it'll take time though. I think podcasting, doing this helps a lot. You get different types of people in here, so some of them are more advanced in their vocab than others, and
Yeah.
you learn through that. So
And it's crazy because sometimes you don't even think
exactly.
their vocab is that
That good.
rich.
Yeah. And then
And it's
sometimes
like,
you're
holy
like,
shit, dude, like,
okay, this person sounds very,
smart.
yeah. It's like, whoa. But yeah, and then one of the other things too is like knowing what words to use, knowing what the words mean that you're using, you know? Like not just, and I think I do that sometimes where I'll use a word and I'm not
you're like,
100% sure if it rhymes or if it goes with what I'm saying.
Yeah, I've caught you a lot of times.
Yeah.
And
so,
even you catch yourself, you're like,
yeah.
I don't know if this is the word or if this is what it really truly means.
Yeah, but that's how you get better, is catching on. And I think that goes with anything, you know? Like when you catch on and you catch yourself doing something, you're like, yeah, I'm not sure if this is completely right. I'm going to look it up or get checked, you know, get self-checked or whatever. Not like a doctor self-check, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Check yourself basically and see if it's right. Because if you don't, then you're just going to go around and in
Sounding
other
kinda
words,
dumb.
speaking out of your ass,
Yeah.
you know? And it's like, you know, personally, I don't want to sound like a person who just speaks out of my ass. I want to sound like a person who knows what I'm
Who
talking
knows
about.
why they're using those words.
And who knows what I'm actually saying.
Because maybe someone doesn't know that word and they're like, okay, so what does that mean?
Yeah,
And you're like, well, I don't know. It just sounds cool, so I say it.
exactly.
I think this is what it means.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just a lot of that type of stuff with vocabs. But yeah, well, yeah, back to your question. I think Colombian accent for me would be sick. I feel like if I had a Colombian accent here, not a lot of people would understand me. Because isn't it crazy that here where we're at, it's mostly Mexican people? There's a lot of Mexican, a lot of Guatemalans around here. But when you get other people like from other countries that are also like Spanish-speaking countries, you're like, whoa, like a Puerto Rican. Have you ever met a Puerto Rican? I've never met a Puerto Rican.
I have.
You know? So it's like, what? I'm not talking about Bad Bunny, baby. You can't say Bad Bunny.
No. Like in person,
Yeah.
yeah, I have. Babe,
Oh,
Bad Bunny's not in the picture right now.
yeah. Was it weird meeting that person, that Puerto Rican person? How they spoke?
They speak very fast,
Yeah.
from what I remember. But it's like a faster Mexican type of,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was
Type of
weird.
language.
Yeah, because she knew more Spanish than English.
Oh, interesting.
Her English wasn't the greatest, but it sounds really cool.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
Her English? You liked her English or her Puerto Rican?
Her English.
Like I met in school, I met a girl that was from Venezuela. So her English wasn't good either. But her Spanish was really, really good, obviously, you know? So, but I thought that her Spanish just sounded so, like you said, rich, you know? Just very like educated Spanish.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I was
It's
like,
just the words they use too. It's so much
and the
different.
little accent that goes behind the words too.
I think it's just so fucking sexy.
I'm
Like
not gonna
on a girl or a boy.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
I'm not gonna say yes because I don't
Like
want to
it's
get
not
beat
like
up
it
later.
turns me on or anything like that.
Yeah,
But it's just
it's
beautiful.
different. And you know what? It's different because you're not used to it.
Yeah, you're not used to it. So when you hear it, it's like, whoa.
It's like, damn, where are you from? You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, like that girl, she's from Venezuela, so when she spoke, it was just very rich and sound. So I was like, that sounds badass, you know? Like you said, it wasn't like a turn, like, oh my God, but it was just like, damn, that's sick.
Because here you just have the basic.
You have the pocho, you know? You have the
what?
Pocho.
What the fuck is that? See, guys?
The pocho is like, it's like me, basically. I know how to speak Spanish well enough, but it's not the best. And you can tell that my Spanish is a no salvo type of Spanish, you know? Like, my R's are not the best. I don't know how to say window in Spanish because I fuck up all the time.
Say it.
No, I'm not going to say it.
Say it.
It's things like that, you know?
Yeah.
But let's move on because I think we've been talking about language for some time now. I want to talk to you about people.
Talk to me.
I want to talk to you about kind of your take on death.
On death.
Yes.
What about death?
So, thank God I've never experienced death in a close family, from a close family perspective, you know. So for me, I don't know what that feels like in the sense of having someone close to me die, you know, whether it's through natural death, accidents, or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I've never had that, thank God. Everyone in my immediate family is alive. So, but I have had friends who have had certain family members die, and it's interesting because every single one of them takes it differently. So I just kind of want to know what you have to kind of say about that. You know, how do you take death in a close immediate family? How do you deal with it? How do you cope with it?
It's really hard. The first death I had to experience was a close friend I had. And we were in high school. I think it was probably sophomore year or freshman year. And you didn't see it coming, you know? Like it was a suicide.
Yeah. Oh, well.
And I was what? How old are you when you're a freshman?
15, 14, 15. Yeah.
Like that shit.
Hit you.
It hit me.
Yeah.
Like it just fucking sucked. And that was the first time my parents actually saw me crying.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Me as a little young teenager.
As a growing, as in a, whoa.
And it changes you.
Adolescence, something like that.
I feel like it changes you and it makes you just see people, family, friends in a whole different way.
Yeah.
You start appreciating little things a lot more than what you used to. Seeing your family, you just, what's the word?
Appreciate it more.
Yeah, you just appreciate everything a little more.
Yeah, because it becomes way more real, right?
It's like, okay, you don't know if this person is going to wake up tomorrow.
Exactly.
They could be fine right now, but you don't know.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that I had a guy on the other day on the podcast, and he was telling me about that. He was saying that when because his mother passed, there's kind of the same thing.
You know how I wasn't here for it?
Yeah.
When I was listening to it,
Yeah.
I almost cried. Like,
Yeah.
it just made me super emotional. It just made me appreciate my family even more.
Because you think about it, right? I mean, you think about that because you put yourself in that, and you don't want to say you put yourself in their shoes, but you kind of do, you know?
Yeah.
You think about, okay, how would I react, or what would it be like if a
And
family member died
Yeah, and it's like he doesn't have his mom here anymore.
at all?
And
It's
I
not
have
just,
my mom, and I don't tell her I love her.
and
I
that's the
don't
craziest
hug
thing.
my family.
Yeah.
I don't tell them how much I appreciate them and how thankful I am for them.
Yeah.
And it just makes you realize, like, am I a fucking piece of shit for having my family here with me and not ever telling them, hey, thank you for everything you do.
Yeah.
I love
Or
you.
for everything you've done. Yeah, you don't think about that stuff
Yeah.
until something happens, right? And
Yeah.
that's what he was telling me. He's like, you just don't think about the possibility of someone dying because it's so out of
You think they're just going to die when they're
yeah.
old.
Yeah, it's so out of the picture in a sense, you know? And he's like, but when that happened with me, it just made me realize that to be appreciative of my family, my friends, the people who I love, who I care for, and to make sure that I let them know, hey, thank you, hey, I love you, hey, this, you know?
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it too is that in the Hispanic culture, you know, if you grow up with parents who are on the harder side, you know, more
It's hard for you to go up to them and thank them, tell
Yeah.
them you love them, or hug them, you know?
exactly, because they brought you up like that, you know,
Yeah.
because that's what they grew up with. Maybe even worse. Like I don't think I've ever told my dad that I love him, you know, and I don't think I ever told my mom that I loved her until maybe maybe a year ago now, and I'm 21. So, but she started saying that, and I was like, because you feel weird, you know, saying, at least in my case, when my mom said I love you, I kind of, I'm gonna sound like a piece of shit, but I kind of brushed it off, you know. But then when I
But it's
started,
beautiful because when I met you
yeah,
and I saw how close you were with your mom and the relationship you guys
yeah,
have, I just thought it was so beautiful and I wanted that so bad.
which now
And I
you're,
told you,
yeah,
because I wasn't close like that I was having a lot of issues with my family
yeah,
and we were always arguing and stuff. So when I saw that, I was like, that's just beautiful. And I craved that so bad.
yeah,
And now my family, it's not like I tell them I love you and this and that, but we're a lot closer and
yeah,
it feels a lot healthier.
than what it was.
Yeah, and it's just beautiful. And I feel like I can trust my parents 100% now.
Yeah,
Like I can just tell them anything.
and I think seeing that growth has been there, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, when my mom would start saying I love you, like at first I was like, this is weird, you know, because it
Like,
was
Mom, don't say that.
yeah, like it wasn't there, you know.
Yeah.
But then I started saying it back because I realized that I remember that someone once told me that, like, you know, why not say I love you to your friend or your family member now that they're alive?
Like you say, I love you to your friend. I love you, bro, but you can't say it to your own mother.
Exactly. So
Because
then I
it's so
started saying,
normal to say it to a friend.
yeah, and I tell my friends, and I told them all it was weird because my friend group was all boys, right?
Yeah.
And we would all tell each other, "I love you, I love you, man," or "I love you, bro." And it wasn't like in a sexual or
No, yeah, it's just,
it was just like I care for you so much. I deeply
it's like
care
it
for
just
you.
slips out too.
Yeah, it came out, just rolled out naturally. And I think even like at the time when when the girls would hang out with us or other guys would hang out with us and we didn't care. But if I was leaving, I tell all of them, doesn't matter who was around. Hey, I love you, bro, man. I'll see you tomorrow. Or I love you, bro. Take care. Be careful. Things like that. And they would say back to me. I think they thought, they were like, what the fuck? That's
Maybe,
weird.
yeah.
Or maybe they saw and kind of had that same feeling as you had. Damn, I want that in my friendship. Damn, I crave that. Shout out to my homies.
Yeah.
I miss you all. That was a cry.
Shut up.
No, but yeah. And so that's kind of what I've learned is to be, to say things and now that my family is alive,
Sorry.
she farted.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, because I never had that experience of someone passing away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, the next one would just be my grandparents. It was my dad's dad. He passed away. And you just see, what I saw is just a part of my dad kind of just leave,
and
And
so
it's really sad seeing that because
yeah,
I don't think he cried. He's never let us seen him cry.
yeah,
And he just acted like nothing happened. Well, he left to Mexico
yeah,
to,
be there.
to be there. But when he came to my room, he thought I didn't know. And he didn't want to like break in front of me. He was like, okay, mija, te veo al rato. Like, oh, I'll see you later.
Yeah, I was just kind of like brushing it off.
And I was like, huh. And it was sad.
I mean, you can just tell,
Yeah.
I feel like it's really hard because if you're going through that grieving phase, I think you need to cry. I think you have to cry.
Yeah.
I think that you have to let yourself feel those emotions because if not, then I think that you will carry them for a very long time. And you won't let yourself move past that very easily if you are holding on to them.
Yeah.
We were watching a movie yesterday, right? And when I caught on to it, even though I was all fucking scared and whatnot, but after I was thinking about it, because it was a movie about trauma more than anything. And I thought about it, I was like, she was carrying trauma from the time her mother died when she was like 10.
She
right?
couldn't let that go.
She was
holding on
probably,
to it.
yeah, closer to 30 in the movie. So she was holding on to it for 20 years. And it made me think that if you don't let yourself, feel the trauma and then let go of that trauma, you will never have full control of your mind and the peace of mind that you so desirably crave.
Yeah.
And I was
It's
thinking
true.
about that. I have a lot of trauma that I haven't let go, that I haven't let myself be free from. And there's a movie, not a movie, there's a part of the movie where essentially this monster, right? And it's called...
The monster is her mom.
The monster is her mom, and that's her trauma. And there's a scene where the monster's like choking her and saying, "You're mine. You're
Like your mind is
my mind,"
not
or something
powerful
like that. Yeah.
enough to get over this.
Yeah. And then she grabs the hand and she says,
But it is.
But it is my mind.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit. That's when I realized in a way, I was like, the person really, you that's watching me, hearing me that I'm talking to myself, you really have control of your mind over anyone else, over anything. You are the one in control of everything that you think about, that you spend your time on, that you cry about, that you laugh about, that you're in control of it.
Yeah.
So,
and what I saw from my dad is that I think that's why he became so close to God.
yeah.
I think that's where it changed for him. And he's always been pretty close.
But not as
But
close.
now he's like everything, Like I tell him, oh, I have a headache. I feel this way. Or he's like, just put your faith in God.
Yeah.
and just listen, just really just, what's it called? Fucking, I lost what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, basically. But I think that's why, that's why there's so many things out here that, good or bad, whatever, it doesn't matter, But there's so many things out here that when something like that happens, a death that's, that hurts you a lot, a wound, literally, you, I feel like in a way you don't have the strength by yourself to get over that stuff. So you look for the assistance through things like religion, through things like drugs, people that use
Yeah.
drugs to forget or to cope with that, through addictions of anything, through they change.
Yeah.
Maybe they become a more adrenaline junkie, in a sense of they live their life at 1,000 miles per hour because what happened to them completely changed them, that they're like, I don't want to live my life like that. I'm going to go and jump off a plane now.
Yeah.
They go towards their dreams because they see that, damn, my mom or my dad or my sibling or my grandma passed away and I still haven't done anything with my life. So they go out and fight for that dream. They go out and look for that dream.
Yeah.
And you put that energy, that
It's
grievance,
beautiful but sad how sometimes it
and sometimes
has
it
to
changes for
take
the
you
worse.
that. It has to
Yeah.
take you so much
Yeah.
to finally do something with your life.
Yeah.
Follow your dreams.
Yeah. And sometimes it turns bad, right? The
Yeah,
person
it
completely
can.
shuts down. They become more secluded. They
Yeah.
they put walls up, instead of opening up. They put walls up and close themselves off from family members, from loved ones, from help,
Yeah.
from things like that. Because
Yeah.
they're just caught in that moment,
Yeah.
and it's hard for them to move past that.
Yeah. Which I'm just so glad my dad has always been such a strong man. And he's just so strong minded.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I've caught myself, like, we've been through some rough times, me and you.
Yeah.
And I've caught myself just following what my dad would tell me.
Yeah.
Like, hey, just when you feel a certain way, God is here, Like,
Yeah.
just talk to him or this or that. And I've caught myself doing it ever since.
Yeah.
And it's just helped me so much.
Yeah.
Instead of going to friends and telling them, oh, hey, like, this is what's going on, I just talk to God. And I feel so much peace.
Yeah. And then there's also that part of being vulnerable, right? Of saying, okay, it's hard for me to open up, but I need to open up because I can't contain this inside me anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't know if your dad had that, but I hope he did. And if he hasn't, I pray to God and I hope he does. And maybe not with you or your brother or with his wife, my mother-in-law, but maybe with God,
Yeah.
And if it's not with God, or maybe it is with God already, maybe you can take it to the next level and open up with his wife, right? The person who is his best friend, essentially.
Yeah.
Because I think that helps a ton, is when I think that's what a strong mind is. In my
Yeah.
point of view, I feel like if you're a strong-minded person, you've pushed yourself to open up to the person that you trust the most, whoever that is,
Yeah.
and you let them in, because ultimately you know that you need the help to get over that trauma. If not, then that trauma can even cause certain diseases.
Oh, yeah.
I was reading my book, chapter 7 book, by the way, guys. And this lady had a sexual abuse trauma that happened to her from an uncle when she was little. And because she'd never let anyone in, not even her mother, who in some would say is, as a child, that's the person you trust the
go
most
to.
and you go to. she was 23 years old and she got arthritis to the point where she became like crunched up like this, right? And she had her hands like this. She couldn't move at all because that trauma
It
took
just,
over her body.
yeah.
You know, it shut down her nerve system, and they never knew where it came from because it's very. It's not normal for a 23-year-old to have arthritis.
Oh, yeah.
You get arthritis later on in life, 40,
When
50.
you're older, yeah.
You know, but this girl, because of her trauma, she got arthritis. So
Wow.
this doctor, the author of the book, started to talk to her, and that's when they revealed that it was her trauma causing the arthritis.
Damn.
2 years later, she worked through her trauma, and she was able to finally move her fingers.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
'cause
crazy.
she was crunched up like this. And he says in the book, he's like, every doctor, not every doctor, he says in the book, you know, doctors sometimes just want to patch up the work with the pill and say, this will help you. But they never ask, how do you feel? You know, what's going on inside of your brain, inside of your mind? Is there something beneath? You know, they don't ask, you know, about emotions. They
Yeah.
just want to patch up the work with the pill.
Get their money.
And that's it.
And let's go.
So that's one of the things I'm like, you know, if something happens traumatic, death by a death in the family, you need to really like, you know, grieve it. And grieve in the sense of you really need to process and let it out. You know, I don't think you can hold on to it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen both sides. I've seen my dad and my mom go through this.
Yeah.
I think my mom took it a little bit better.
Yeah.
She did cry in front of us because they called her
Yeah.
when we were all just there. We were all just sitting there.
Yeah.
And they just gave her the call, you know. And she did start crying. Like, you could tell that she was trying really hard not to because she's just so... She just
Strong,
doesn't break. She's very
hard-headed.
strong, yeah. She's like me.
Yeah.
Or I'm like her.
Yeah, you're like her.
Yeah.
There you go.
And so... Yeah, it was really sad, but I feel like my mom took it a lot better than how my dad did. And I think the time she took over there just kind of helped her a lot to just kind of grieve
Yeah. And see,
and cope with it.
yeah. I think that's what it is. You need to breathe, cope with it, and you know, work, process it. And I think I'll share a little bit about my dad now that we're in this sentimental fucking state of mind.
Uh-oh.
I might cry, guys.
Let me grab some tissues.
No, but I think, like, you know, my dad, he's a great man because of everything he's done for us. You know, he gave us a living, and there was never food missing on the table. There was always food on the table for us.
Yeah.
He clothed us. He did his part as a dad, you know, and I have to thank him for that because that's his job. That was his job as a parent.
Yeah, and you
know?
never, as a kid, think, oh, I'm going to thank my dad for everything he's doing.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, why isn't he buying me this
Or why
game?
isn't he here right now?
Yeah.
Why isn't he taking me to this place? So,
But it's because he's doing everything he can for you and his family
Exactly.
to provide.
Yeah. So I have to thank him for that because
Yeah.
he did what he could to the best of his abilities to be a dad. And another thing is that you don't know. It's rare for you, at least from what I've known, it's rare for me or kids sometimes to sit down with their dad and talk to him about their life as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, and I know a little bit about my dad's life as a kid, and his life was 10 times rougher than mine. He didn't even finish high school. He started working in tomato farms at 13, you know?
Yeah.
So he didn't have much of an education, and he had a very hard, rough childhood. His dad left, you know, when he was very young, So he was the man of the house because he has 3 sisters.
And it was so much different back then too.
So much different.
You had to literally take care of your sisters,
Exactly.
your mom, all the girls.
Yep.
The girls wouldn't work.
Yeah.
You just kind of had to provide.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Provide.
And families back then, like grandmas, my grandma had freaking a lot of kids, you know?
Yeah.
And that's how it was like back then.
And then he lived in a ranch. You know, there was no city. Remember, guys, there was no phones back then. There was no YouTube, no fucking
Nothing.
Instagram. And so he got married very young at 18, right? And then he had me 2 years later or something like that. And so anyways, where was I going with this? Oh, so then anyways, you know, later on life happens, you know, for their reasons that I'm not going to speak on. My parents get divorced. And now currently I have no communication, if any communication, with my dad, right?
Yeah.
And it hits me hard because growing up, my dad was my idol, right? He was the person I looked up to. So when you don't have, if you're a male and you don't have that male role model in your life, you grow up very quickly because you're the male in the house,
Yeah.
right? And I'm the oldest, so even more so then. But then also you have a lot of questions as a man that you may not feel comfortable asking your friends or asking people that you know who
Or
are
your
older,
mom.
or your mom, you know, that you wish you had your dad to ask, oh, what do I do now? How am I supposed to feel about this?
Yeah.
You know, or I'm feeling this and I don't know what to do. So when you have your dad to ask those questions, it hits you very hard. So when my dad left, I think the divorce hit him hard. Not so much my mom leaving him, but the reasons
Yeah.
and kind of what happened, you know?
I mean, I don't think he saw it coming either.
Exactly.
You know? Like it just kind of hit him out of nowhere.
Yeah. So,
Like it was for you too. Like you didn't
yeah, I
think
didn't
your
expect
family
it.
was going to separate.
Exactly. Yeah. I never saw it coming. So now my dad, you know, I think he has a hard time coming around. I think he wants to. Deep down, I think he does miss us. You
No,
know,
yeah,
I couldn't
absolutely.
imagine. It'd be hard for me to say that my dad doesn't miss us because I know the type of heart he has, and I
Yeah.
know he's a good guy deep down. And everyone makes mistakes, so you know I don't blame him for his mistakes, but I do know that he misses us. You know, but I think he's still caught on to what happened between him and my mom. That he hasn't gotten past that traumatic event. That's hard for him now, 5 years later, 6 years later, to even, you know, come around and say hi.
Yeah.
Because maybe seeing us triggers him. Maybe,
Yeah, it could be.
you know, knowing that we have a connection with my mom makes him think about my mom and it triggers him or whatever. You know? And I think now the problem with trauma, guys, is that sometimes guilt comes around and shame. So he may even, I don't want to speak for my dad, but he may even feel shame and guilt because he left us.
Yeah.
That now he thinks that we don't love him because he left us, when that's not the case.
When all you guys want is
Yeah,
a little part of your dad.
exactly. So he may even see or say to himself, why would I reach out to my son when I know that he's not going to answer me? Why would I reach out to my son when I've
But
made
the
all these
crazy
mistakes?
thing is that you always answer him.
Exactly. I do. My siblings don't, you know, for their own reasons, but I do.
Yeah.
But that's kind of
But
what's
I
crazy.
think it's also because your siblings don't want anything to do with him, basically. Like, they don't
Yeah.
answer him. That he's like, I'm not even going to try with Brandon either.
Exactly. So, and you know, my siblings have their own reasons why they don't answer him, but I think a lot of it is because they're like, if I forget about it instead of working through that, it's easier. You know, it's like people who who lose a parent or something like that and they get into drugs, if I get high, then I won't have to think about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same mechanism. If I don't respond to my dad, if I don't answer him, if I block him, I don't have to think about him. But all you're doing is just putting a patch on the wound. You're not sewing it. You're not fixing it. You know? So what was my point with that? Is that I think my dad hasn't worked through
His
what
trauma.
his traumas are. I think it even goes even deeper to his childhood. I don't think he's worked completely through a trauma with his dad.
Well, his story is kind of like yours in a way.
Yeah.
Like you went through that too, basically.
Yeah.
With the whole, your father left. You had to grow up fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
And
Like you got married, not young, but at a pretty young age, you know?
yeah. And so, yeah, it makes you think a lot, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes, guys, you know, you will do some of the same type of actions that your parents do.
Yeah.
You know, you will come out with some of that mechanism that they have, you know, whether it's being hard-headed and that's just who you are.
Yeah, I
Whether it's,
mean, well, at the end of the day, you are the little version of them.
yeah,
Want it or not, you're going to get a lot of those traits.
exactly. It's just picking out the traits that you want to keep and that you don't want to keep.
The good and the bad.
Yeah, working towards becoming you, you know, really becoming you. And if there's a trait that you have that comes from your parents and you see it in yourself and you're like, I don't like that trait. I didn't like that about my mom or my dad. I'm not going to do that. You know, I'm going to fix that or work towards becoming better,
Yeah.
you know? So, you know, like one of my things is like, I want to break like the chain in my family, you know? And there's a lot of chains to
Which
be broken,
one?
but like I want to break the chain in the sense of restoring what family means in in my family. And I don't just mean like my mom and my dad, but I also mean like my grandma, grandpa, aunts, you know? Because I think my family, not to be fucked up, but my family is dysfunctional. You know, there's divorces all around. There's separations. So I want to kind of break those chains of like, no, like let's be inclusive, you know? Like it's beautiful to see your family, how inclusive they are with everyone, you know? Like all the kids, you know, like all your cousins get along, they hang out, you know?
Well, there's a little side that doesn't. We have some little haters here and there.
I mean, no
that
family's
don't,
gonna be perfect, but
yeah, that we don't get along with, but
yeah. But with my cousins, like I don't see my cousins very often. So that's kind of where I'm like, okay, I want to break that chain or
Yeah.
rebuild that part of the family a little bit more. So I don't know, it's a lot, but at the end of the day, you have to live your life.
yeah.
You know, you have
For
to live
sure.
your life the way you want to live your life, and
I think grandkids help with that a lot too.
oh yeah, grandkids will help. It's weird,
So
huh?
maybe that'll be the little turning point for your family.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, guys, I think the most important thing too is like making sure that your household is together, put in place.
Before you're trying to.
Do anything else, even
Yeah.
business. You know, if you don't have your home life, your household stable, everything else will go to shit too.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, what's our time?
For sure. It's 49.
49, guys.
49.
Huh?
49.
49. Yeah. Anything else you want to add on? I don't know why we got into that deep ass dark topic, but I hope that wasn't too dark. This might be the episode for Thursday because I don't know if Monday will be a good day to post
Yeah.
this. This might be a little bit too dark for you guys.
Every time we have this conversation, I just remember that post that I saw on Instagram
Which is
that I've said before on here. I don't think you've posted the the video, the podcast,
Uh-huh.
but it says it's your parents' first time too. Like, nobody gave them a fucking book. Here, this is what you're gonna do now that you're becoming a parent. This is how you're supposed to do this, do that. This is how you're supposed to raise your children. You know, they're just trying their best.
Yeah.
Like my grandma, nobody told her how to be a mother.
She became a very young age, too.
Yeah. Nobody told my mom how to be a mother. Yeah, she has her mother. But she wasn't there with her.
And you will always raise your kids. The mother is always going to raise the kids, not the grandma or the grandpa, you know?
And you're always going to try to raise your kids better than what your family raised you, what your parents raised you.
Exactly. And sometimes you won't even like the way
they raised you, you just won't like something about it, and you're going to be like, okay, this is not what I want for my kid. I'm going to raise them differently.
Exactly. So, yeah, guys, I don't know. What a fucking topic, though, huh?
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed this and it wasn't too heavy-hearted on you all. And if it was, forgive us.
We'll send you a hug.
We'll send you a hug.
Come on.
And, yeah, come on here. Come on.
Don't hug my man.
But yeah, anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you all for the support. It's been amazing. And yeah, go check us out on Instagram, BrandonALara.
Jackie J3ACKIE _
And
you
then,
sleepy, babe?
No.
Oh, he's going memes.
And then the OAP official on Instagram as well. Once a Project Podcast on YouTube. Once a Project on TikTok. That's kind of it, guys. Go check us out. Apple, Spotify too. Once a Project Podcast.
Follow, like, subscribe.
Share it, guys. Share
Comment.
it. By the way, I saw you guys work that subscriber. Now we're at 69% are subscribed. 21% are not, or 31% are not, something like that. So go subscribe if you're listening to this. Please, I help.
Come on.
Come on. All right. See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.